Hey everyone, welcome to another Reasons and Resources episode. So in this one, as you can see, we're going to look at reasons and resources for learning standard ML. Now for me personally, the only reason I took a look at standard ML was as a result of something I'll talk about at the end again, and I was featuring every episode, was a project I'm still working on called this Programming Polyglot project, where I have a website that takes a look at different languages through the lens of the same sort of group of features across all the languages. And if you've not seen episodes of Reason Resources before, or you've not checked that out, I'll go through at the end. But that was really what started that. It was on a list, and that website's based around a book called, I think, was it Programming Language Explorations. So it was on a sort of a map I had of a series of languages to sort of work through over time. Now, in terms of other reasons beyond just curiosity for learning the language, standard ML, so it's multi-paradigm. And as part of that, it's a paradigm, it's a functional programming language. And as such, if you're it's one of a number of ways into functional programming that you could take. There's other stuff like Haskell, Scala, F#, and also other languages which are multi-paradigm, where you don't always realise that you can take like a functional approach in much the same way as it's a lot of multi-paradigm languages have like object-oriented programming features in them, which people don't always use. And so you can sort of start adopting those in multi-paradigm languages. But my understanding is that, because it leans heavily into functional programming, it's a good introduction, it's one of several ways you can get into functional programming, and you can see where its origins and where it went in terms of what it influenced. You've got stuff around static typing and type inference, which again might be another, possibly whatever language you've come from, it was done differently. So, learning a language where there's a slightly different approach to typing and type inference than one you've come from is always good to experience. It's one of several languages that has some really interesting pattern matching features in it as well. And I'm trying to think that the first time I really got an exposure to a pattern matching sort of layout in a language, it was probably Prolog, maybe, I think. But it's always interesting when you start to and I'm not, here I'm talking about with pattern matching, a lot of people associate that with regular expressions, sort of regex stuff. Here it's pattern matching, but you'll sort of start to see when you explore the language how it's different. You can see some examples here where you've got this sort of order of things that it goes through, where you can define function arguments as patterns to follow. And like I said, it is that sort of approach to patterns probably first exposed in Prolog to some degree, but I was trying to think, there was a language where it all sort of came together and I can't remember now, and it was in the last couple of years really going through and looking at stuff where I started to notice these more styles of functions with patterns in them, with pattern matching in them. There's a whole area of the language. I think it might even reference it up here, to do with proofs. And where did I see it? Yeah, I don't know if it's particularly referenced in the article, but I know there's stuff to do with formal semantics. If you're, interested in programming language theory, formal verification, and a more sort of academic approach to programming. So the whole formal semantics and proofs side of things might be another reason why you could be attracted to it. And that's not the only language where that's the case, but certainly, it's another reason maybe why you might want to check it out. And if you've sort of got an impression from the structures here, there is a nice expressiveness, conciseness to the code when you see it written out on the page like this. I was trying to think of the first language that I saw this sort of layout as well, and I can't exactly remember. But the first time you see it, it's initially it takes a while to get your head round what's going on, but once you sort of see it, you can't forget it, and it's like, that's a really interesting way of laying stuff out. It's good old hello world. Some examples of some code. There's merge sort, quick sort. There's probably another one where you're getting a bit more of an idea of various patterns. So I'll include links to various sections in Wikipedia on the language, just to make stuff nice and easy for you. Stack Overflow. So just first up, when I'm recording this video, and there's always a lag in these videos between when I record and when they get released, but as of recording this video, the 2025 Stack Overflow survey isn't out yet. It might possibly be out by the time this video goes live, but as of recording it's not. But what I will be doing is, when that happens, I'll be sort of featuring both as a sort of compare and contrast going forward. Well, I do like this. Anyway, easily pleased. So I don't think standard ML, if it does, OCaml, which I think I'm doing in the next episode, as you can see, is on the list. But I don't see standard ML. But quite possibly I have missed it. So not really much to talk about there. So what you can gather from that is it's fairly niche language, but that might not be a downside. So let's go through some other resources here. Let's look at the resources going from the reasons. So there's a standard ML of New Jersey, which is where you might want to start. That's a compiler. There's the standard ML family GitHub project. You have ML for the Working Programmer, which is a textbook. I don't think, this is not one that's available online, but it is a book that gets sort of name checked quite a bit. Let me just see whether Yeah, no, it doesn't look like the books of, some of the episodes we've done so far in different languages. There is a free online version of a particular go-to book for a language. That I don't think that's the case here. Let me just check. Oh, saying that, what have we got? Oh, there we go. Sorry, I stand corrected. So it is. I can't seem to click on that. Maybe I've got to go through here. Let's just have a look. There we go. Yep. So you can access it. I don't know what made me think you couldn't, but yeah, you can. Okay, it's buried away a little bit. So yeah, gotta go in. Well, that's cool. Oh, there. That's funny. Oh no, this is a different one. Yeah, sorry. So this one is Programming in Standard ML. Yeah, different one, but this is the one I was going to use as the example for the online. It's funny when I do these episodes, I do the prep like a week. Well, actually, probably more than a week before, and so yeah, I sort of forget sometimes what I've done. Yeah, I probably did the. Thinking about it, I probably did the prep for this about 4 months ago, because I've been away in the interim, although you wouldn't notice it from my releases, because it's the way I roll stuff out, but yeah, that's funny. Anyway, so there we go. There's another book that is available via PDF, but as I've said, the previous one, if you drill down through, you will find it in here. There we go. And then we've got the definition of standard ML, which is, through this GitHub page, but I've got a direct link to the PDF, which I'll include in the description. A couple of videos you might want to check out. History of standard ML. There we go. And this one, a new match compiler for standard ML of New Jersey, ACM SIG plan from 2022. We have a tutorial here, standard ML 97 online tutorial. If you're looking for some tutorials, School of Informatics. Standard ML is available on Exorcism with the usual set of stuff to play around with. There is also an entry on Learn X in Y if you just want a sort of quick introduction to the language and look at some code and stuff. There we go. Stuff that's fun to sort of copy and paste and run. The reason why I like this as well is it's a nice way of sort of dipping your toe in a language. If you've not checked out the website, very useful, but also it has some nice links as well down the bottom. And then finally this fella, Treat Guy. So yeah, this is my on-off programming polyglot project. Came about as a result of me reading this book, and I did a separate video on this, but the author starts off with a series of languages going up to, I think it's Rust. So this verse, I think this is 14 here along here, so this top line and up to Rust, and sort of looks at it through the same group of features, if you like. So if we go into Rust, you can see I've got a section on about Rust, binding and scope, and so on, functions and closures. And so the idea with this project was to go through each of those categories and look at the language in question through those categories. So as I've mentioned in previous episodes, there were some languages I had to skip over because my knowledge of them was rather lacking, to the point where because I'm leaning into LLMs for this as well, I couldn't evaluate properly the response of the LLM. I didn't think that was a good thing to do, is just put stuff out there without properly testing it and evaluating it and just double checking everything. So you'll see that certain things got skipped over as I've been going through this, and over time I will fill this in. The important thing was, initially the project was only going to go up to Rust anyway, but I went through this. The list goes through in terms of that book that I've already mentioned here, Programming Language Explorations. There's a chapters after the individual chapters on this first set of languages where it sort of groups them together in different types. So you get sort of legacy languages, and then you get, you know, various other categories, and it just groups together and has smaller chapters. So I think everything up to assembly is features in some point in the book, but it's only the first set up to Rust that are featured in have a chapter each. So like I said, as I got deeper into the weeds, you can see where I've skipped over certain stuff. We got quite a good run here actually. Perl into our standard ML, OCaml and F#. C++ I've done, Erlang, Elixir. Haven't quite finished Gleam, even though the link's here. There's a section in there that's not finished yet. And there's C#. So it is work in progress, as it says here. Living document. But the initial important stuff has been done. Okay, there we have it. Thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in a future episode.